Good early evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well so far. We've got a little bit of Seahawks news that I want to talk about here. Not anything terribly surprising, not anything we didn't already suspect, but we've gotten confirmation from basically the most official source possible. So, want to talk about this. First, real quick note, I'm going to be streaming tonight on Twitch. We're going to be doing another kind of April Fool's-ish stream. So should be some fun, should be interesting, should be it's something that I don't usually do and may not be doing again anytime soon. So it's going to be something completely different for me, kind of an extension of the April Fool's stream. So hope to see you guys there. Should be sometime around like 5:30 or 6 tonight. It's going to be starting a little bit earlier. All right. So, we got word from John Schneider about the timeline, the theoretical timeline on the injury of one Jordan Brooks. And it's not very good. And it seems like at this point, the only logical assumption to make right now is Jordan Brooks cannot be counted on for the 2023 season. This article from a Rotoballer says that he's unlikely to be ready for the beginning of next season. He tore his ACL on New Year's Day, meaning he probably won't be back until late in the season. Now, here's the interesting part of this little blurb here. John Schneider compared Brooks's timetable on his return to John Radigan. There have been times in the last few months where I've wondered, what is the timetable for Brooks? What kind of tear was it? What are the details of this injury that dictate how long he's going to be out? Now we have something. He compared Brooks's timetable to John Radigan. John Radigan tore his ACL in December of 2021 and did not return until December of 2022. So, if the timetable is similar, that basically means that Jordan Brooks is not going to play in 2023. Now, the article, or the blurb rather, I shouldn't call it an article, does say early reports say that Brooks is making good progress, so maybe he has a chance. But as of right now, I don't think we can assume much of an impact from Jordan Brooks in 2023. I would treat him, my expectations for him would basically be what we got from Trey Brown last year, which is nothing. Like, Trey Brown played a couple of snaps in one game, determined that he just wasn't there yet, and sat out. So we got nothing. So I expect nothing from Jordan Brooks in 2023 at this point, and there's a lot of ramifications to that, of course. I think some of them are pretty obvious, some of them not so obvious, but the main takeaway that I think everyone should have right now is that Jordan Brooks, don't expect anything from him in the 2023 season. If he gets back, he's probably not even going to be all the way back. Now, Jordan Brooks, as this article says, has recorded back-to-back 160-plus tackle seasons. That's despite the fact that he missed the last, basically, 2 games last year. So there are some positive numbers with him. There are some positive traits with him. PFF, you actually look at it, you look at his run stop percentage combined with his depth of tackle, it's actually strong. But that being said, you guys know how I feel about Jordan Brooks. I don't think he's particularly good. I think the overall picture of him on PFF is fairly accurate. He's better than replacement level, but not by that much. He's pretty good in run defense. He can offer some stuff as a blitzer, but his coverage is so bad. He can't really, it doesn't make up for it. I don't think there's anything he can do to make up for being this bad in coverage. I could tolerate being mediocre or not so good in coverage, but he is just atrocious in coverage, and it's really hard to make up for that. You got to be surrounded by phenomenal talent and phenomenal players to be covered up in that regard. And Jordan Brooks, I don't know if it's ever going to get any better. He is still kind of young. He's only 25. He turned 25 midseason last year. But maybe he can get a little bit better at this point. I don't see any way he gets a lot better. And he's going to have to get a lot better to even become like an adequate player in coverage. So I'm not saying that I think Jordan Brooks is some great player that we're going to miss terribly. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. However, if you go to the current projection of the depth chart, you take Jordan Brooks out of the equation. Like, let's say you just nix him. Like, let's say you just assume, okay, we're getting nothing out of Jordan Brooks. You've got Bobby Wagner and Devin Bush starting. Bobby Wagner is old. Devin Bush hasn't really done anything positive since his rookie year. And then after that, you've got John Radigan, who is a special teamer, Vi Jones, who hasn't really done anything in the NFL yet, and Onu Giogu, who's an outside linebacker playing out of position. And Vi Jones and Onu Giogu should not be on an active roster. Radigan deserves it because of his special team stuff, but these two guys, unless they progress massively from last year, have no place on a good 53-man roster. So we're okay at the top. I think Wagner and Bush will be passable, but there is no depth to speak of. And I think it's time we start thinking about things in these terms, where we know that after our top two guys at inside linebacker, Wagner and Bush, we have effectively nothing. Maybe Radigan can improve a little bit, but the thing is, he didn't really get to develop last year because he missed the whole season with that injury. So, honestly, I wouldn't expect anything beyond what we've already gotten from him as is. So, as we move towards this draft, keep in mind that we really need to address this position still. Just because we brought in Bobby Wagner does not mean we don't need to do something here. The odds of both of these guys playing, or well, not playing every snap, but staying healthy the whole season, long odds on that, especially a guy like a Devin Bush who's suffered a major injury in his career already. Wagner's getting older. Last time he was here, he got hurt, remember. Not saying he's injury prone, he's not, but that is an ugly bet to make. And one injury to the inside linebacker spot at the top basically decimates us. So, obviously, the headline here is just, this kind of confirms what we already suspected, right? It didn't seem like Brooks was going to make it back this year, and now I really don't expect it. Maybe he plays in a couple games at the end, but if he did, he would probably be playing in those games to kind of warm himself up and just get his feet underneath him more than it would be us expecting to get a really good player. But we need to also plan with that in mind. Yes, bringing in Wagner was nice. Yes, signing Devin Bush was, I think, a pretty reasonable risk to take. But there is nothing going on behind these guys that I like. So if we end up taking multiple linebackers in this upcoming draft, I would not be shocked, and I wouldn't be upset by it either. I think that's actually probably a pretty reasonable thing to do. But we need one, and we need one big one, I think, which is why consistently in my mock drafts, I've spent at least one of the top three Seahawks picks on a linebacker. So, just wanted to let you guys know what was going on with Jordan Brooks. Schneider has given us the timetable, and what he's basically hinting is that don't expect Brooks to play at all this year. At least that's not what I'm expecting. If we get anything positive from him this year, I think that's like finding a $20 bill on the ground at this point. You don't expect it. You're not counting on it. You have to plan without it happening. All right, so that's the news for Jordan Brooks. It's not good. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that the decision on Jordan Brooks's option on his fifth year, because he was a first-round pick, is approaching. And I have to believe that this news completely disqualifies him from being considered as a fifth-year option guy. So I have to imagine if that wasn't already off the table, which it should have been, it's now completely off the table. So that's the other fallout of this. See you guys later. Go Hawks.